There's people who don't use any skins, like Faker and stuff, and he's renowned for not using skins. I just think it's pretty cool to be able to have my own little flair on my champions I play.
I think most of the time it's functional. Like, I like some skins just make me feel more confident on the champion because of the way it looks, the color maybe.
My favorite is the legendary Vladimir skin. I like the voiceover and he sounds even more evil than he usually does.
Kneel before that.
Yeah, I like Freylord Ash. You're just like a 80 carry and you're like all in white. Looks pretty cool.
Muay Thai Lee Sin. He feels more fast.
Eddie's in trouble. Candy Panda comes in. One more shot. It's Mascaron that steals it away.
I like unique ones. Like the Aether Wing Kale, like it's actually like playing a new champion.
Najbardziej mi się podobają skiny do Korkiego, mają najlepsze animacje i najlepiej się gra niż bez skina.
I like the Syndra skin that the balls are like water.
It's going to be a lot of damage. They may even be able to kill him. Wild Growth coming out, but it's going to be Peke that's able to finish off there.
The sound or something make it way smooth, and I like to play with that one.
Actually, my favorite skin has to be from my old mid-lane times when I played Fizz. It has to be Tundra Fizz. Because he has like these little sandals and he has like an Eskimo outfit on it. It just looks really funny. So it's the best skin ever.
When I came to the studio, Reckless came into the player lounge and said,
I really want to play Strike Illusion. I love this skin and I hope I'm able to play it for you.
And then he went on stage before me and he got to play Lucian. But he didn't have any riot points on the offline account, so he couldn't get the Strike Illusion skin.
And then he actually managed to buy the skin off stage because you could buy it in the practice rooms.
So I got to play Strike Illusion before Reckless, which made me a really happy boy.
Welcome back to the European LCS. Before we head into our next match, we're going to break down Rocket's win over Alliance. 5-0 right now, Rocket. And Trevor, you were mentioning it's like watching a game in a time capsule.
Yeah, big time. Gragas mid, Vi in the jungle, Shyvana back in the top lane, Alliance failing, and Rocket winning. It's basically spring split all over again. Rocket played confidence, they had ganks, they were moving around the map. We keep talking about the fact they're challenging for dragons this week. And it just feels like they're ramping up and they're finding the form that helped them, play so well during the course of the spring splits.
Yeah, absolutely. And also Alliance coming in once again with a full AD comp. And again, it doesn't really seem to work out for them.
No, and of course, the longer the game went, the worse it was going to get for them. You saw eventually they got the Ranians in pretty early on, but then came the Thornmails. You saw Froggen at the end there. They went in towards Xaxus, but he was just basically beating himself to death against a big brick wall because they were so strong towards the end. They just didn't have enough.
Yeah, but when they were able to fight with that Yasuo, for instance, it did pay dividends for them in that one fight around Baron. Let's actually get that replay up on the screen, because Rocket was in this one basically saying, get back into the game, Alliance.
Deficio said it perfectly, and this was a terrible fight for Rocket. The one thing you want to notice is just how Vander is trying to peel, but he's so focused on getting the jungler out of the fight, he completely ignores the fact that Wicked, Froggen, and Tabs are hanging out on the left-hand side. Let's roll this clip out, and we'll drop to 50% speed in just a moment or two. Because Vander's off on the right-hand side. He does delay Nif momentarily, but all of the peel and the slow from that Glacial Fissure is away. The Tidal Wave knocks up both Overpower and Celavar moments ago, and look at the double last breath from Froggen. Comboed with the damage from Shyvana and even Tabs getting in there with Ace in the hole, they melt the carries of Rocket. This was the team fight that kept Alliance in the game. Let's roll the rest of the clip at full speed. You'll just see Alliance basically cleaning house, and even Nif lands a great bubble on Jankos to prevent him getting out of the pit. The main thing for me here was the fact that Rocket actually made a big mistake. They had a 10,000 gold lead coming into this fight. They were positionally not in the right place. They committed to the incorrect targets. And if Alliance had been able to make more ground on the map, they could have punished Rocket harder, but Rocket did pull themselves back into the game, and they won the next two big team fights and actually closed it out.
Yeah, like you say, while that was pretty much the perfect fight Alliance wanted, they got the two carries in a perfect position. You also got to look at the fight that turned it back around. Tabs got caught out, and suddenly realizing, Alliance put themselves into position to force them away from that jungler. They forced Vander, Jankos onto Vi, And that was what caught them out, because he just dived straight for Tabs, and everybody did everything they could to save him, and then realized, hang on a minute, everybody else is dying. Tabs got out alive.
Alliance don't know how to deal with aggression. Yesterday when they lost to Millennium, Tabs was also out of position, and Tabs also got caught out when they, dealt with wicked Young Bucks Irelia all the way back in London. They struggle under pressure. And this weekend, Tabs has made more positional errors than he has all split long.
Yeah.
You talk about crumbling under pressure on the other side. To be honest, when I was watching that Baron fight, I thought, well, this is exactly what's going to send Roccat on tilt and maybe cost them the game. It's a testament to the way they've been playing that they were able to still turn it around.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, their composition did have a lot working for them because it took so much for Alliance to burn through in terms of armor and fighting and perfect positioning. Roccat had that air of safety with their team comp and the way they'd itemized. So it did work in their favor. But I also want to highlight the fact that Alliance don't seem to do particularly well with their Yasuo mid comps. They've run it with Kayle in the past. They've run it with Renekton in the past. And Froggen likes to split push, but he never really got to a point where he was completely dictating the tempo of the game. It's one of those risks when you run AD. If you fall behind, you stay behind because it is fairly easy to itemize against.
And one of the main things for me with Alliance is, since this 4.10 patch, they're not comfortable with it. We're on to 4.11 now, but it's effectively the same, just more tweaks in it. They're not comfortable on this, and they seem to have fallen back into their shell. If you think at the start of the spring split, they were amazing. They're suddenly showing all of these new talented skills, these new different ways of pushing lanes. It was like, wow, okay, they've suddenly opened their eyes to the whole Korean meta. But now, since they've suddenly realized, oh, we've hit a stumbling block, they've all just immediately regressed back into the same old style they were using in the spring split, which wasn't working.
Yeah, and let's finally talk about Roccat then, because we do talk about it. The minute Veggie was in that house and was telling them what to do, it did go better. How much of an impact can it have? Is it the combination of the patch and Veggie maybe that sent them over the edge?
5-game winning streak.
Yeah.
I mean, if the problem for Roccat is their out-of-game confidence and knowledge, picks and strategies coming into a game, having a coach there that can actually tell them, this is what you do, this is what you should be doing in certain situations. To use an example, it was very clear that Vanda was focusing on Shook because the team call was Baron. The team was like, let's get Baron, everyone's on Baron. And the biggest threat when you're doing Baron is the jungler, which is why I feel Vanda just committed everything on Shook, because he has most likely been trained and been taught in Baron, focused jungler, and he didn't necessarily think about some of the surrounding circumstances. So it's helping Roccat. They need to take this game and learn from it to keep improving.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Veggie, and he clearly has turned his team around. I think they're 9 wins in the last 12, their 5-game win streak. It's pretty crazy. I mean, you look at this team, and even just listening to them last week, how down Overpower was compared to how he just is now. I mean, they played the SK and Alliance in week 6. They lost both these games. They've turned it around since then in just 2 weeks. Imagine what they're going to be like in a couple more weeks when we get to playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. They did bow to Veggie as well yesterday, which I think is sign enough. Yeah. Well, as for now, we're going to check in with you guys at home because you've been tweeting to us at LL Esports, because earlier we asked you, who do you think is the most underrated European LCS pro this split and why? And here are some of your answers. The first one is from @CravyWalterLol. I think people are really underrating Cottonex. He's a new addition to their team, but he's made some great plays to secure wins.
Yeah, absolutely. You just look at Millennium now compared to last spring. They changed out their jungler. They were bottom of the league, and now they're actually challenging mid-table. They took down Alliance yesterday. They're looking fantastic right now.
Second one is from @Alexia da Firenze. I say Woolite of the Copenhagen Wolves. Despite their low standings, he manages to put up big numbers. He's like the Altec of EU. That's a lot of praise.
I like the comparison, but I also think Woolite is just a phenomenally talented mechanical player. Unfortunately, some of his front line isn't always there to protect him. But you go a couple of weeks back where he single-handedly destroyed Roccat.
Alliance 11-0-2.
Exactly. So he's had some very big games.
He did 6-0-5 yesterday as
Even
well.
more impressive, you've got to give props to the Wolves, because they found Reckless, then they found Forgiven, and now they found Woolite. I tell you what, their talent-finding team is phenomenal.
Yeah, they got to pick up you next.
No. They play good players.
And the last one is from @TheDrowsyWolf. I've got to agree with Quickshot that Nick is quite underrated. He's not Alex, but he stepped up in recent weeks. Big shoes to fill, of course, but he's doing phenomenally.
Oh, hell yes. It's a different style of player. Alex was a lot more aggressive assassin-based. Nick is a little more supportive. He likes the range poke champions. And, we're not seeing Nidalee anymore. She's unavailable since her rework. But he's picking up other champions. He's being relevant. And he's going toe-to-toe with the big names in EU. And everyone knows how famous European mid laners are. So all props to Nick.
Absolutely. As always, thank you guys for sending those to us. And remember to use the hashtag LCS to chat with us throughout the matches. And now it's time to send it back over to Joe Fisho at the desk for our next game.
Thank you very much, Shocks. And it is time for our next game as Gambit Gaming and the Super Hot Crew square off. Yesterday, Gambit debuted their 2 new members, but they weren't able to pick up the points and were beaten by their close rivals at the bottom of the table, the Copenhagen Wolves.
And we had some very, very big issues in the bottom lane from Gambit. They were shut down early on, especially Genja. He was forced back on Caitlyn when he could only buy a pickaxe. And it's not exactly ideal situation for Caitlyn, especially not when the enemy AD carry has already picked up Infinity Edge by the time you still have your pickaxe. And yet, even though Gambit was so far behind already, they went in for the first dragon fight, they lost it, and just fell very, very far behind. And of course, communication was going to be an issue with some new members, but the shot calling itself was completely off from Gambit. They kept contesting fights where they should never have even been close to them.
So we talked a lot about the guys in the bottom lane, the older members of Gambit. What do we think to their new additions, Kubon and Lulex, who have some really big shoes to fill in this team? There's no doubt about that.
So I feel like Kubon up in the top lane, he did okay on Aurelia. He went even with Youngbuck after he got a lot of help from Lulex on Jarvan, which is what we have to say. All the jungle focus from Lulex was in the top lane to help out Kubon as much as possible. And it meant Lulex, he didn't really impact anything else on the map. He tried to go mid lane a few times, but every time he was forced away by LX. And bottom lane, he never really showed anything. So a lot of focus on the top lane. I think we saw some synergy between the new jungle and the new top laner. But that was pretty much it.
So on the other side then, the Super Hot Crew were demolished by Fnatic in a game which they honestly didn't really ever get involved in right from the very start.
And they really didn't look like themselves, because Super Hot Crew normally have some very good solo laners. But Mimir up in the top lane on Mundo, he was completely shot down early on. First by Source, and then Sana joined in afterwards to make it even worse for Mimir. And we had Selfie in the mid lane against Xpeke. He was just destroyed. He died one-on-one. He never got in the game. I mean, he was 0-6-1 on Lulu and just kept dying over and over. And again, normally these solo laners from Super Hot Crew will always do a good job. Didn't happen yesterday. And Super Hot Crew as a team, they have potential. It's a terrible word, but they do have potential. They're just very inconsistent. And it's an issue we see from a lot of the middle-of-the-pack teams here in Europe. And they need to be careful, because now Millennium are tied with them in the standings, and Rocket, they're closing in. They keep winning games. They might even be tied now with this win before the game even starts.
Yeah, 10-10, and Super Hot Crew are 10-9. So,
yeah, so
they could be theoretically completely tied when it comes to this one.
And while there's still quite some losses down to the bottom 2 teams and get out of the playoffs, you're still playing for seedings now, which are very important, because if you get a good seed, it might open up for you to move into top 4 and possibly Worlds.
Well, newcomers Lulex and Kubon have big shoes to fill in Gambit's lineup, and they'll need a strong early game to help the veteran players carry the team out of a potentially season-ending slump.
Regarding Gambit, I don't think that the roster is stronger now. I feel like it's actually weaker. Darien and Diamondbox especially, I feel he's still one of the best junglers. Maybe he's just in a slump.
I believe our guys will do their best. I think we need to just do proper bottom picks. It's the most important thing.
Super Pro has a pretty good bot lane, but other than their bot lane, they are not that strong of players.
A lot is going to be up to their jungle and top lane if they want to win the game.
I think we should play around mid like every LCS team.
If I can make top lane and mid snowball, I think we can win.
I don't think it's going to be an easy game. It's going to be easier overall. But I think Genja and Edward are really good bot.
Me and Genja are confident in playing bot and not losing it. And they will carry the team.
Hard to disagree with Lulex when he says it's probably up to me to snowball top and mid lane. And this is something that we said yesterday, their bot lane from Gambit, they can be brilliant, they can be hit and miss, but mid lane and top lane have to get going against 2 very strong solo laners of the Super Hot Crew.
And he tried to do it yesterday, but it was too easy for Airwax to predict, so he was always around the mid lane whenever Lulex was, and he had to go top, help out Kubon as much as possible. Just wasn't enough, especially because the bottom lane from Gambit fell so far behind.
Well, we'll see if they can pick things up today, but first we're going to check out the starting lineups on the blue side for this one. It's Gambit Gaming with Kubon in the top lane, Lulex in the jungle, Nick in the mid lane, Genja the AD carry, and Edward the support. support.
On the red side, we have the super hot crew with Mima in the top lane, Impaler in the jungle, Selfie as the mid laner, Mr. Rales as the AD carry, and Kazing as the support.
So before we head to the Rift, let's see who you guys think will win this game. According to LOLesports.com, 60% of you voted for the super hot crew. Not a surprise to me considering how things are going, the changes in Gambit and the form of both teams.
Very true. I mean, yesterday both teams lost. I would actually say they lost very hard, both of them. So they want to go in here now, show they can win some games and really improve the performance from yesterday.
So as we move closer to Champion Select then, Deficio, where's the focus going to be in this one? We've already talked about the solo lane as being a key factor, but you can also never out-count, if you like, the bottom lane as well. We heard yesterday Gambit had pretty much lost that game in the bottom lane. Is there any kind of focus that they need to put towards Genja and Edward, who are quite versatile players in terms of their picks?
So we rarely see bans towards Genja, but often people like early pick Lucian to take it away from him.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of jungle focus yesterday against Lulex, where Lee Sin and Evelyn was banned, and then Elise was first picked by Wolves, forcing him to play Jarvan. We might try and see some of the same deal here from Subaru, but it's going to be harder because Gambit does have the first pick, so they should be able to take whatever jungler is left if there's a lot of jungle bans here. So we need to see what Subaru wants to do. Yesterday they banned away only mid lane champions. They had Ziggs, Fizz and Oriana's bans and tried to force Xpeke onto something he didn't really feel comfortable on. Didn't work.
Well, let's have a look here. Gambit with the first ban will actually take Cogmore away from Mr. Rals, and it seems like the Super Hot crew may well be sticking to that focus the jungle bans towards Lulex, the man on the left-hand side of your screen. Rise was also taking away a late-game scaling champion that Super Hot crew have pulled out multiple times.
Yeah, and both solo laners actually playing Rise, and this Lee Sin ban against Lulex, we're gonna see it every single time. It is his main champion. He's playing like 700 plus games on it in solo queue in this season alone, and he really loves it. So people or teams want to take it away. I wonder if Gambit actually want to first pick a jungler for him, so he doesn't have to fall back on something like Jarvan, depending on the last ban from Super Hot crew here. Because now Elise is open as the only one left if you look at the top junglers.
Yeah, tells me that Impaler maybe considering someone else, whether that's to go towards Vi that we saw in the last game, whether that's Jarvan maybe from yesterday that Lulex ended up playing.
So Impaler actually used to pick Jarvan over Lee Sin, except for yesterday where he picked Lee Sin himself. So it could just be a Jarvan pick, and now you have a Yasuo already. So if you pick Jarvan, you have a great comp. If you pick Vi, you have a great setup as well. A lot of options now jungle-wise for Super Crew, even though they gave Elise away.
And a lot of teams choose to ban Yasuo against Selfie for a very good reason as well. We've seen games where he's absolutely wrecked people. First one being early season against Alliance, and they'll also take Gragas, which, you know, whether it's Vi or whether it's Jarvan in the jungle, Gragas adds another knock-up in there for Mima.
And such
for Selfie.
Yeah, such a good top laner, Gragas. Very, very popular in all regions now. He's a very safe laner. He brings a lot of utility. You can build him many different ways. We saw Overpower in the last game go full AP, except for, well, it was of course still AP with the Hourglass, but it was his only defensive item. He just went full AP. We have seen tank Gragas. We've seen a mix of everything. There's so many ways you can build it, and of course, the synergy with Yasuo is perfect just to set up these team fights. And Genja, he needs to pick an AD carry now who can dash or jump away. Otherwise, he's gonna be such an easy target to lock down. And I would even suggest something like a Morgana would work really well against this Gragas, but seems to be Nami for now.
Well, dash or jump away, and one with huge range is what he could get here with Caitlyn with that 90 caliber net as well to give him a bit more safety. That is in fact going to be locked in for him, along with Nami for Edward in the support role.
There's a very good lane they have here, a lot of long range poke with or from Caitlyn, and with the E from Nami to make the auto attacks even stronger. You have the sustain from the W, the main thing on Nami. 1 year ago when I used to play her, you always maxed E and you just have full focus on trading or let your AD carry win the trades. Now you max the W, so you have to sustain, you have to heal. And making a very, very good bottom lane, so might be the focus from Gambit saying we lost the bottom lane yesterday, we need to make sure we have a strong lane today so they can handle themselves. And then Lulex can focus on the top lane and the mid lane and just leave Edward and Genja to do whatever they need to do.
Well, we'll see what the Super Hot crew go for. Mr. Rawls, one of the, I think, biggest celebrated newer talents to come through into the LCS, certainly in that AD carry role. See what he decides to actually go with. Rengar, you know, we forgot here that Rengar was, of course, globally banned out last week. came back in this week after 4.11, fixed the problems with his Q, and that's going to be locked in here for the Super Hot crew. Going to go into the jungle there with Impaler. They'll also lock in Corki.
And Rengar, a bit like Gragas, you can build him many different ways too. I mean, you can go Farewell Flare, you can go a lot of damage and just try and instant kill a squishy target. You can build tanky, get a lot of cooldown reduction, and then focus on engaging. And you have your E, the snare, to engage with. And then when you have all the cooldown reduction, you're going to get it up with the 5 stacks more often, and then you can lock down even more targets, of course.
Wow. Gambit going with Fizz and Yorick here for this one. This is not, well, I mean, this is not Gambit anymore in terms of the Gambit that we can really say we're used to. Obviously, we've only seen one game so far with these 2 new players in, but Fizz in the mid lane for Nick. Nick's a player who's constantly brought out more passive champions where he can farm up, stay quiet, bring a lot of utility later on. This time around, going to be going with Fizz and Yorick for Kubon in the top lane.
So we actually saw Yorick against Gragas yesterday, and Yorick is supposed to win when it comes to farm, but they can't really kill each other. They need some jungle help to set it up, where Gragas is a lot better at setting up jungle ganks, especially once you hit level 6. Because you can't even predict when he's going to ult you, and if the jungler joins in, you're just in a very bad position. So we need to see if Impaler wants to pay a visit to the top lane, try and get a few kills on Kubon up there on this Yorick, and therefore get Mimo rolling as well on this Gragas here. But very straightforward. This is a Gragas support.
Gragas support? Well, I mean, didn't really expect that one to come out considering how often we're seeing Gragas in that top lane, in the mid lane in the last game. Edward, the only one that's really played Gragas support to a big level. I think Nif might have played him once.
Yeah, he played it once.
Earlier on in the split, but it is going to be Kasing playing that support Gragas here, and obviously feeling that Shyvana was a better match for Mima in the top lane up against Kubon, and you still get the knockup whether it's got the damage there or not.
What's a great thing about early picking Gragas, you can set him in mid lane, you can set him top lane, you can put him support, so they could just choose whatever they wanted to here. And Corgi Gragas, I mean, it's also a very, very strong lane, because Gragas is so hard to kill. He's so tanky, he's just going to body slam in your face over and over. Can be very hard for the squishy Nami to deal with, but we need to see the poke will definitely be in favor of Gambit with Caitlyn and Nami in the laning phase, but the all-in potential from a Corgi and a Gragas is going to be very, very dangerous.
Some very interesting teams coming out here, but with those comps, guys, do you still think that the Super Hot crew are going to come out ahead? Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag GMB win or hashtag SHC win, and we'll see if those lineups manage to sway your votes at all. Said it before, 60-40 was in favor of the Super Hot crew from LOLesports.com. What do you think, Officio?
Well, from looking at the team comps, we need to see if this Yorick and Fizz. I mean, we saw Yorick again, we saw it yesterday. When it comes to team fights, you don't do too much. I mean, it's mainly about your ult here. You don't really have enough damage to take down a target by yourself. You're just going to be a super tank. You have your ult then to either put it on Fizz or Caitlyn. It's very good against Yasuo, because if Caitlyn gets caught out of position, you put the ult onto Genja, and he will, of course, come back to life. So we need to see how they want to play these team fights from the side of Gambit, because they do have a lot of late game potential with both Fizz and Caitlyn.
Yeah, if they get rolling, especially from Fizz's side of things. We've seen it time and time again that if you get a good start, you're going to be a beast going forward. The opposite way around counts as well. If you don't get going, it's going to be hard, but we're going to find out here as we get into game. Gambit versus the Super Hot crew, and Gambit looking for their first victory here with the 2 new players, Kubon and Lulex, coming in to replace Darian and Diamond, 2 legends in the League of Legends scene. And no doubt that, as we've said at least 3 or 4 times now, that those shoes are so hard to pick, to fill. But we're actually going to have a little listening back to Champion Select here and listening to Gambit, to Super Hot Crew's reaction to that Yorick pick.
No, anything but Yorick. I really don't want to play against it. Oh my god. Like, okay, it's mid. There's one thing I don't want to play against.
Yeah.
Well.
We all know it. Nobody wants to play against Yorick. This champion is so annoying to deal with. Especially because the only way you can avoid the damage from the ghouls is if you run into the bush and then you like force them to go back to the minions, and it's... he's even like, he has flask, he has mana potion, he's just gonna spam them in your face over and over and then smack you with the shovel. I mean, damn you, Yorick.
Damn you, Yorick. Pretty much what Mima was thinking there as well. Didn't want to play against it. He's going to have to play against it though here. Kubon selecting this one around. Let's have a look down some of the other summoners here. Nick going Flash and Ignite. in that mid lane compared to Selfie, who's actually picked up Barrier this time around.
So very aggressive by Nick. We saw Overpower yesterday play with Teleport. We saw Kerb as well play with Teleport on Fizz. But Nick wants to Ignite here for the one-on-one potential, for the early pressure, and forcing Selfie into Barrier. So he knows at least the all-in potential from a Fizz is very, very scary. And I really want to see this bottom lane here, because obviously Gragas has some pretty good poke. But I'm not sure if Gragas and Kogi can outpoke the sustain from an army and then with the Caitlyn. We actually need to see how it goes. Normally, if Edward does max his heal, should be able to heal up most of the damage.
And it's funny because this bottom lane Gragas that Edward ran earlier on in the split caused a few problems for other teams as well, because Singh going to be running it against Edward in this game, and we can already see those early trades going down. One thing you have to say about Gragas in that role is that he is going to have to, if he wants to put his full damage potential down, come forward, which makes an easier bubble for Edward.
Easy bubble for Edward and also opens up for ganks. And again, we heard Lulex in the video before the game talk about how he needs to handle the mid lane and the top lane. So we might not see him put a lot of focus on his bottom lane. So if it's something Subaku could use to be very aggressive, and if they don't think he's gonna be around, but if he decides to pay a visit and Subaku goes all in, it should be a fairly easy bubble for Edward.
Nick has lost a lot of health there in that mid lane already. Not exactly sure what happened there, but Selfie obviously... Well, yeah, a couple of levels on Yasuo. Gonna be a pain for you. Crystalline Flask is there though for Nick, for him to be constantly healing himself up there from that. Also adding a couple of extra potions in. There's Lulex, and we're going to see exactly how much of a role he can play in this game today for Gambit. Top lane, of course, the annoyance master himself, Yorick with Kubon, but he may be already in a little bit of trouble because Impaler is going to start to come around.
And already stacked up to 5 here, so we'll get the snare from his E if he lands it onto Kubon. Staying around with the double buff, and Kubon pushed all the way up. Lulex actually around his mid lane, even though Selfie already recalled, so he should be up in his top lane here, ready to counter gank in case something happens. He's actually going to move up there now.
Ward's down already.
He's actually staying.
They're waiting there and maybe wondering, okay, do I want to go top? Do I want to go middle? He's kind of halfway in between them. Look at that, a ping on the minimap right on top of his head. So they know that Lulex is going to be around there. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit careful. Rengar is going to come around the corner. Doesn't look like Impaler wants to have too much of a fight, although they need to be careful in case Yasuo decides to come around that side as well.
So Rengar as well really wants to get his level 6 before he can start to gank properly, so he gets the stealth, he can actually surprise you instead of just run into your face, because you're normally not going to get into a bush and get the jump when you gank people standing in the middle of the lane, unless you want to go down to this bottom lane, or if you can lane gank the top lane, but it's hard to do. And therefore he's now just gone back to farming to try and get his level 6 point. And then he can really engage fights, he can set up some very, very annoying ganks where you don't expect him, you just see the exclamation mark above your head and you're like, oh shit, I'm dead.
They're falling a little bit low from that white as well there, but not really a problem. He was going to recall anyway. We did also see Nick recalling, picked himself up boots, which is going to be a big help for him against Selfie, who's just going to dash around in his face the entire time. And a Doran's ring as well on top of that crystalline flask that he did in fact start out with. But look at this, Lulex is going to be coming around towards his mid lane. Selfie maybe a bit out of position from this one. There's a lot of damage going to come his way. No ultimates. Oh, and that's a great wind wall to block out the cocoon. Selfie survives.
Yeah, the way he plays here, it's very, very smart. He actually moved closer to the Gambit tower just so he could dash through them up towards his own tower, puts up the wind wall as soon as he saw the cocoon, and actually saved both Flash and Barrier, even though he was so far up the lane and got ganked here. So very well played by Selfie. His Yasuo is definitely his best champion. Every time he plays it, he does really, really well. And the teams have to respect it, especially in these team fights.
We'll see how it goes for them as they approach level 6 as well, where the kill potential on both sides starts to come out. And see that Madrid start for Impaler.
So we'll go towards Fable Flare. Needs to, of course, stack it up. He's one of the few junglers who actually still builds it, because you can still get a lot of damage from it. And I wonder if he wants to go cooldown reduction afterwards, or if he wants to build more damage and try and assassinate people, or if he wants to get some tankiness. There's so many different ways you can build it, and it doesn't seem to be like just one way which is the best.
Want to keep a close eye on this mid lane because they're going to be hitting level 6 soon. There's Impaler
getting the lane gang.
Stalking up as well through the lane. Who's going to hit level 6 first? Selfie gets it. Is he going to be able to get the knock up? Actually going deep in there towards Nick, but didn't actually follow through on it. Nick still has a flash, as does Selfie, but this is where it could be interesting. Kubon, level 6, but there's the jump out of the bush. Is he going to go down here? I don't think they're going to go underneath the turret, but that's a lot of damage.
So Impaler managed to come around here and actually get the lane gang up where he's very, very strong, even before level 6, like we talked about before. Genji, though, being very aggressive in this bot lane.
Very aggressive indeed, and Kusing trying to tank out all the damage then. We saw Mr. Rolls having to Valkyrie away. Actually had flash, had summon a heal, so it wasn't in the greatest of dangers, but he's going to be forced out of the lane, which means free farm for Genji. To be honest, Genji already doing a great job of this one. 59 to 43 CS already in this bottom lane.
Definitely winning the poke war and the sustain with Nami. Just constantly going in for these trades with Mr. Rylas and Kusing. Take some damage, you get healed up again, and you just keep doing it over and over and forcing them to lose some CS, and also force Mr. Rylas out of the lane. So he's going to lose the entire wave that just hit the tower here. So very well played by Gambit, and we haven't seen Lulix even being close to the bot lane. So he's sticking to what he said in the pre-game. Focuses on mid lane and on top lane, and my bot lane just have to survive by themselves.
And that was the perfect time to be recalling as well for Gambit. It's going to mean a BF sword for Genji as he comes back in. Another couple of item notes here as well. We see the Quill Coat coming out for Lulix.
Okay, again, with Elise now, you can either go Spectral Wraith and go for more aggressive, get some AP early, or you can now build into Spirit of the Ancient Golem, of course, the new item, Quill Coat, giving armor, giving HP. Once you complete the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, you get 25% bonus HP, which is a lot late game if you build some more tank items. And actually making it very strong in the late game, but makes you a little bit weaker in the early game. Which is why we sometimes see Elise now build Spectral Wraiths.
Well, we'll see which way he ends up going when we get further on into the match. For now, though, Gambit getting some wards down by Dragon, and maybe feeling here with that BF sword for Genji that they can force once again the Super Hot crew to move away with an Elise on their team. Prime target then for an earlier Dragon.
Very, very true, and Nick going towards Selfie again because Lulix is joining in.
Oh, Ultimate actually going to miss here. They're going to go towards Selfie, who's down at half HP. Does have his flash. He'll use it in the last second. There's the wind wall coming in. Not enough kick. Nick is going to get the kill. Impaler dives in as well at level 6, but he's not got the damage to get it. And Nick flashing away, using Ignite to get the kill. Nicely done by Gambit.
And the best champion for Gambit to get the first blood on was Fizz here. They really need Nick to get going so he can just become this absolute monster late game. Great start here. Second time Lulix came into this mid lane. Last time, no summoners was used by Selfie. This time, both of them, and he still died.
Oh, Mima going aggressive here onto Kubon, but we'll see there Yorick just throwing down the ghouls. And gonna be a constant problem for Mima. We heard him already talk from Champion Selector, said, no, not Yorick. That's not who I want to play against. Sometimes how it really works out there. As Impaler moving on to that top side of the map, might have to try and get involved. There's a knockback onto Genji. Good tile away from Edward. Are they going to be able to get away? Maybe even try and turn around that damage. The bubble was anticipated there from Mr. Rawls, and he went back. So no kill down bottom, but that was close stuff from Genji. He's now got no flash.
It was very nice ult by Kusing. He predicted that Genji was going to shoot himself backwards, so he put the ulti even further behind him and still shot him into Mr. Rylas. Managed to do a lot of damage, and it was the all-in potential we saw here from Super Hot Crew, and very nice tidal wave from Edward as well.
And we see the vote from you guys on Twitter, 64% to the Super Hot Crew, so actually a few more of you favouring them after seeing these bans and picks. It's clear to see why, to be honest, when you got the likes of Selfie on Yasuo, and see that Rengar coming out of the jungle for Impaler, but this bottom lane, if we look at that so far, Gambit looking a lot better than they were yesterday, that's for sure. 96 to 75 CS, Genji ahead of Mr. Rawls.
The only, I mean, Kubon in his top lane is actually slightly behind. Mima did, of course, get the gank from Impaler where they forced the flash, and we actually see Gambit now moving towards this Baron. Impaler's moving, he's around the wolf camp, so he's still very far away. They might not even move down because there's a pink ward, so no wards at all from Super Hot Crew.
Yeah, Dragon going to be going the way of Gambit here. Nothing that the Super Hot Crew are going to offer to that, and that gives them a nice little lead after 11 minutes of the game. Meanwhile, Impaler is
holding up.
Yeah, stealthing up there. I'm not sure if that ping ward saw him. There were no pings actually coming in, so I don't think they will. They're going to surely go for Edward. That's a great flash. Genja is going to get slowed there by Impaler. Have they got the damage to finish him off? Kasing right in there at the front as well. Genja's going to fall. But here's the TP from Kubon coming in from the backside. Not got the damage though.
Too late.
And that will be a kill back for the Super Hot crew.
Way too late with the TP here. If he actually wanted to try and join in, should have been there instantly. Super Hot crew managed to get a kill. Bit of a weird ulti from Impaler. Popped it, moving towards the dragon. Went out of stealth, but still managed to get in here and actually pick up a kill. Nick on his mid lane. Just dancing around a little bit, dodging the Hurricane.
Showing he is very proficient on this Fizz, there's no doubt about that. As you'd expect all the mid laners to be at this level. I don't really say that there's many players in the mid who can't bring that Fizz to the table when needed. Meanwhile, Mima, because of that teleport, having a bit of free time to farm up without the annoyance of that Yorick, who's gone Mana Moon first item. Mima is actually going to be building Blade of the Ruin King, but you see there that Kubon already causing him a couple of problems.
The full focus from Mima on being able to sustain himself in this lane, because he takes so much poke from Yorick. And he's actually been farming really well. His TP will be ready just a few minutes. Then he will be able to go back, shop once again, most likely complete the Blade, and TP back to lane once again and do the thing. Because Dragon, of course, is gone. Subaru would know, because they already checked it and also cleared the pink ward around the Dragon, and Kasing will get a second one.
Yeah. Well, 2 pink wards in a row. Always nice. And Gambit still hold on to an 800-900 gold lead. Blue buff will be going over to Nick, so a bit more mana regen for him in that mid lane. The top laning Impaler did just come around, but Kubon was actually sticking to his turret here. No risks really needed from his side, although you look at the farm, that teleport obviously playing into that factor a little bit as well, but Mima doing a fantastic job with the farm at this point.
And he's actually going to save his teleport. He backed before he was ready, so he's going to return to lane here, and there's no teleport on the side of Kubon, so we could see Subaru set something up here. They're going towards Edward.
Big barrel once again. Edward taking a lot of damage. It's a good bubble. I'm not sure it's enough to save him. Kasing with an auto attack there will get another one for the Super Hot crew down bottom.
Great all in here. The flash was used by Edward when once Impaler ganked before, so there was no chance for him to actually avoid dying once the ult hit from Kasing. And again, the all-in potential from a Gragas and a Corgi is very, very scary.
So, Wriggles is done here for Impaler. I think that was done a little bit earlier on, obviously. And we'll see then how many, or how quickly he can get himself up to that Feral Flare. We'll be wanting that for that extra damage coming out, but
19
so far,
stacks.
19 stacks, so still a little bit of a way to go on that one. But certainly, Impaler maybe not had quite the impact that he would have hoped for, but also got some tough lanes. The solos, if you look at them, Yorick, who's going to be able to slow you down and is generally pretty beefy anyway. Then you've got the mid lane where Nick's going to be able to dodge pretty much everything you can throw at him.
Yeah, but it's actually been a pretty good game to have Ringer in, because the lanes from Subaru have been doing so well. I mean, up in the top lane, Mima is just farming away this bottom lane. They're now really starting to do well. They had some issues in the start where they took a lot of poke, but they're always selfie here. Teleport coming in for Mima.
TP mid lane, Mima gonna join in. Can he actually get in there? So knock up is onto Nick. Selfie trying to get in range for it there, but not able to really do much with it. Nick was down to less than half HP. Well, they weren't able to secure a kill, and probably won't force Nick too far away from lane since he's got that flash to still keep healing himself up.
Teleport and flash was used by Super Hot crew. Didn't actually manage to get anything. Well, didn't manage to blow any summoners away from Gambit. Just managed to save Selfie now. They're pushing onto this mid lane. Kasing joining in, and Impaler staying very, very near, or staying very close.
Not gonna go for anything though. Impaler I just cleared a ward out there, so Gambit knew that he was hanging around them somewhat. Edward also came towards that mid lane. Kasing is there. There's actually a cocoon landing onto Kasing. They're going to throw everything they've got in him. That's a lot of damage coming out. Kasing's still alive, but Nick will get the finisher. I don't think Nick will get away, though. Impaler will be able to finish that one off. And now Selfie getting right to the front. He still has the ultimate. There's a knock-up, but decides not to follow through on it.
Very good trade by Subaru, however. They lose the support, but they get a kill onto Rengar. Still going towards this Feral Flare. Should be very, very close now. And looking very strong, been farming well, and again, because the laners did so well by themselves, he didn't actually need to go and help anyone, except for the one time That is bottom lane where he picked up a kill and of course forced the flash from Kubon, but Mimir himself already did well in the lane and just been farming away, and he actually keeps extending his goal lead.
Doing really well, and speaking of that really well, down in this bottom lane, the AD carries 150 to 135. Infinity Edge done for Genja. Just saw him use Ace in the hole there to try and force Mr. Raz a little bit off that turret as well. He's down to less than half HP, so whilst we've not seen any turret takedowns up until now, that bottom lane may be a prime target here for Gambit shortly, especially since Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds.
Yeah, but this Dragon is really where Subaru are going to be so strong. I mean, Corki is a very good mid-game champion. Rengar now, because he has such a good start, he's actually building towards damage. He will be able to blow up a target if he gets towards it. And of course, Gragas support. We saw how tanky he was before. A lot of things were used before he actually went down. So this mid-game team fights are really going to be good for Super Hot Crow. But Impale needs to be careful.
Impale is going to be in a lot of trouble here. That's a good knock-up, which didn't get the knock-up, but you get my point there. Is Kassim coming across as well? Will he throw the barrel? No. Trying to just keep Gambit away from the front side of this Dragon. Let's have a look at top laners. Teleport available for Kubon. Mimir is already there, so he doesn't need to use that one anyway. He's already in position for the fight. There is the Dragon already down to half HP. TP from Kubon is going to come around. Can they hold on to it? Kassim going to be bubbled up. They're going to focus into him as Lulex dives in. There's the first kill on towards Edward. Nick also trying to go to the AD carry, but a good Valkyrie away from Mr. Raz will make sure that Nick goes down. He's going to have the ghost, but Kubon might fall. Genja will use his net to get away. Kubon does go down in the end, and that will be 4 kills here for Gambit. They're surely going to get themselves, well, they will get themselves a Dragon. Only Genja survives.
So Gambit, they did the same thing yesterday. This time around they were out of position. Genja was on the bottom side of the map. Notice your minimap, he's running from the bottom lane. The rest of the team comes from the mid lane. So he's completely out of position. He's unable to do pretty much any damage, which means there's only 4 members from Gambit in this fight. Beautiful knock-up coming in. Selfie goes straight for it. Picks up the first kill. You can see Corgi here, untouched in the back, doing so much damage to everyone, and then the rest of Subaru can finish up the members. And we just talked about how good the setup is from Subaru in the mid game. We get the team fight. Gambit is out of position, could just have backed away, give the Dragon away once they saw, okay, Genja is far away from the team. We don't really want to fight here. Corgi is very scary at this point. Rengar is very scary. Yet they go in for the fight again, just like they did yesterday. Lost 4 members, lost the Dragon, and now they're very far behind.
Is this the problem that we mentioned earlier? The fact that Gambit...
It's a shot calling problem.
Shot calling problem. Is it a language problem as well in there as well? They've got a big mix of nationalities now. Obviously, former complete Russian-speaking team now speaking English, which I don't think is a problem at all for Edward. Genja, that might be a little bit of a different story. I mean, we heard from Lolex, he's definitely not got the easiest to understand accent, I think, obviously, and that is a problem when you get a mixed nationality team.
Don't blame accents. They are perfect.
Accents are beautiful.
Thank you.
If you can understand them, and I think that might be the problem here.
Very true.
For Gambit.
Could be the problem. I mean, Edward, he told me himself, Genji doesn't actually say anything, because again, he can't really communicate well enough in English, so he doesn't actually talk with the rest of the team. It's basically Nick and Edward trying to do as many calls as possible, and the new members just trying to fit in. Impale, though, he's kind of squishy here. With full damage, he might go down. Selfie's nearby, though.
Well, it's now invisible, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem as they're going to try and TP into this one. Nick was there. TPing onto the trap. Bit of an annoyance. They're going to get the tower, though. Gambit can't hold on to this one. That should be the second of the game for the Super Hot Crew. Extends their lead that little bit further as well.
Mid lane. Look at mid lane. 2 members is moving in. There's already some minions. Get some damage on the tower. Next wave is coming. Kubon up in his top lane without teleport. Will be able to take the tower, but they need to defend here.
Oh, they're going to go for Impale. There's the knock-up though from Selfie on towards Lolex. Can they actually get the kill? There's a lot of damage. Here comes the rest of the team. Nick's going to go down as well, and this is a problem for Gambit once again. Genja will be focused. Good bubble won't keep Genja alive long enough. Mimir will chase Edward away, and maybe even Selfie can get onto him. Nope, not quite enough, and that's 3 for 1. Impale loses his life. The Super Hot Crew get the tower though.
So again, Super Crew so strong in these early fights here, picking up some kills, got 2 bot towers. They did lose the top one, and Kubon pushing for the next. Kassim is the only guy who actually recalled yet to try and go and defend.
Let's see if he can actually hold on to it. He will. Kubon's going to back away from this, knowing that, okay, couldn't get involved down bottom, no TP. But let's have a look at that one again. Started off with the engage out of Gambit.
So it's actually a good engage, especially because 2 members from Subaru were in the mid lane. So there was a number advantage for Gambit, but they didn't manage to, or they managed to get 1 kill, and then the rest of the team just joined in and they couldn't back out here. And as soon as Mr. Rales and Kasing joined, it was just Subaru picking up some easy kills.
Not looking good here for Gambit. 6,200 gold behind, 10-3 in kills, 3-1 in turrets. Everything to measure the difference between these teams lies in the hands of the Super Hot Crew at this point, especially Selfie once again. 2-1-6 this time around, so far at least, with Yasuo. Got himself the Shiv from early, got Blade of the Ruin King in there now. Look at Mima, Randuin's has done for him on top of his first item in the Blade of the Ruin King. He talked also about Impaler going damage here, Feral Flare, Hex Drinker, gonna have a Ghost Blade soon as well.
If he jumps onto someone like Edward or Genji, he will destroy them so fast, and there's just so much damage on the side of Gambit. On Super Hot Crew. You have Shyvana now being the tank together with your support. The tank Gragas is so annoying as well because you are so tanky. So you can simply have so much damage on your jungler, your mid laner, and your AD carry, which makes the team fights pretty much impossible for Gambit at the moment to win. They need to buy some time.
Which is why they shouldn't be starting them off.
Yes,
right?
Joe. Yes.
We'll see if they can keep out of trouble on that front, but that probably means giving up possibly another dragon here with 1 minute 25 until that spawns in. We see the Super Hot Crew sending a couple of men back. There's 1,000 gold on the AD carry and the support to spend. And for Mr. Rals, that means an Infinity Edge will be coming up here in no time at all.
It's also one of the issues with Yorick when it comes to team fights. If your carries are not very fed, if they're not very, very strong, you won't really do a lot. It doesn't even matter if you use your ult on one of them. It doesn't really do much of a difference unless they are very strong. So he needs a lot of time before it's worth it, or before Yorick will be worth it in these team fights, because he needs Genji to have like 4 or 5 items and destroy people. Then you put the ghost on him, so you have 2 of him just spamming away. But before Genji really hits his late game point, this Yorick in the fights won't really have much of an impact.
Well, he'll have even less of an impact if you look at that last fight where he wasn't even there.
Very true.
And your carries are already dead pretty much before he can get there anyway. So definitely some changes for these next encounters for Gambit have to come in. 25 seconds for Dragon. That may or may not be the next time that we see these 2 teams face off. We'll see if the Super Hot Crew get that one for free, because they will certainly be there for this next Dragon. The question is whether Gambit feel that they can even think about fighting for this next big chunk of gold.
So Mima is actually in base without teleport, but there's still 4 members from Super Hot Crew around the Dragon, and the blue buff just spawned, so Gambit sent up 2 members to take it. There was a ping ward, so Super Hot Crew knows. 2 members are gone, let's just take this Dragon. And also against, or this time, smart enough by Gambit to not even move towards it and try something, because Subaru will be able to engage fights with Rengar, just stealthing up. Even though you feel like you're far enough away, he might be able to get to you, lock you down, then the rest of the team joins in. Ulti from Kasing will throw you back and you're dead.
Especially if there's bushes around for him to just be jumping on you there. We'll see how this one goes. The Dragon did go to Super Hot Crew, as you saw. Gambit not interested in fighting for that one. I think they've made the clear call that fighting is not something that they're in a position to do right now. Another advantage of having Yasuo in that mid lane, we're seeing the blue buff going over to Mr. Rals here, which can certainly help him out on Corki.
Also see the cooldown reduction for Impaler, which works really well on Rengar. I mean, the more ultis you can get off, the more procs you can get to your 5 stacks, and you get your E, so your snare target or your Q, so you do even more damage. The better it is, so cooldown reduction is a great stat. And he didn't really sacrifice anything except for maybe some tenacity you could have built instead with magic resist boots. But that's about it. So very, very good build for him, and looking very good for Impaler, and Rengar looking very good for Super Hot Crew as a team.
Looking like a different team to yesterday, that's for sure, where we saw them kind of bow out of their game without really having much to say. This time it's Gambit on the back foot and really struggling to come up with the goods. If you look down some of the other items, I mentioned that the Infinity Edge was close to being done by Mr. Rals. That is now added in. Genji on the other side does have a Phantom Dancer on top of his Infinity Edge, but the Ghost Blade is done for Impaler as well at the same time, so got to be very careful, because Impaler, I think, will have no problem with going one-on-one with Genji if he gets left somewhere alone.
So when looking at the comps again, I actually don't even think Gambit is stronger late game compared to Super Hot Crew, because there's so much damage on the side of Super Hot Crew, because Kasing and Mima will be so tanky. And it's going to be hard for Nick to kill anyone. And again, the Yorick doesn't really do any damage in the fights. I actually feel like Subaru completely outpicked Gambit in this game.
Well, that's not a good sign, especially when we fall this far behind as well. 26 minutes in, and we're approaching 10,000 gold lead. And you see that Gambit's scared to move away from that inner turret in the mid lane, the inner turret in the top lane, and the Super Hot Crew have started to gather somewhat up on towards that top side of the map, which could signal that they're going to be baiting out towards Baron, which they don't really need at this point, but they certainly take another fight if they can get it.
They're just setting up the Rengar, ulti already used by Impaler, but Edward backed away. Oh, 2 members out of position!
Oh, out of position completely. Mr. Ra's going to take a lot of damage. Actually, Lulex gets that kill, but Nick now will be in trouble as well. Impaler's going to flash away. Can they get the finisher? There's the Zhonya's Hourglass used. This is actually decent at the start for Gambit. Nick will surely go down. There is Selfie, and can he now complete the kills on the rest of the team? Nick in ghost form there, thanks to Kuban. Still causing them problems. They do finally go towards Kuban, but Nick still running problems for them there at the back. Selfie will finish off Kuban, or Mima, who will take it for the killing spree. And in the end, it leaves a 3-on-2, this time though, in favor of Gambit.
But such a messy engage by Subaru. Mr. Rallis, he jumped over the wall as Corki into the face of Nick and Lulex and just died very, very early on here. And the rest of Subaru, they tried to come in and help him, but they were far away. They were out of position here. So good team by Gambit. We see it again here. Lulex and Nick. Mr. Rallis jumps into their face. He just gets bursted down. He tries to flash away. Still, he's so low at this point, he will die. And look at the minimap here. Everyone just trying to come into this fight to join it. Nobody was really in a good position because they had to run in, and because Mr. Rallis died so early, a lot of the damage was gone from Subaru, and that's up to Selfie to try and kill as many people as possible. He missed the first Hurricane, so Genja stayed safe, kept doing damage. Will land the next one we see here on to Genja, and then he has Flash still, flashes away from it, and Subaru end up losing their team fight. It was a little bit too aggressive engage, and a good team fight by Gambit.
And then we can see where the Yorick ultimate can work out.
Very true.
Nick did more damage, I think, after it actually died, after he was saved by Kuban, than when that fight first started off. But look at this. Super Hot Crew apparently not phased by that 3-on-2, or 3-for-2, and will continue to stack up around the Baron area, and Gambit still need to be very, very wary of how they go about this one. They do have Mima down bottom. He has TP, which Kuban used in that last fight, so that could be used as a tool here to draw Gambit down to this bottom lane and then sort out a 5 versus 4 up by the Baron.
And just pushing it away here. Top lane already pushed out by Selfie, and now moving into join with the rest of the team, and they're waiting for this bot lane to push and hopes Gambit sends someone down to defend it, and then they go straight for Baron. Selfie actually already started. Kuban is down his bottom lane. No teleport. It's gonna be 4 members only for Gambit to try to defend it. None of them are actually moving.
Well, there's the
now they pinged onto Impaler. They saw him, but it's gonna be Baron.
Yeah, this is going down before Gambit can do anything about it. And again, Kuban will be thinking, damn it, if I only had my teleport. The rest of Gambit were a little bit slow to react to that one as well, but it's the first Baron of the game going over to the Super Hot Crew, and that will almost give them that 10,000 gold lead. And there's a Dragon coming up in half a minute as well. The Super Hot Crew here with inner turrets still to be taken in the mid lane and in the top lane. Now have extra tools to do that.
Might try and catch Nick out of position here. He's waiting around for Selfie to move close. Might look for a fight. He does have their Hourglass in case Nick gets a knock up on him. He can try and pop it before Selfie's ult gets to him. For now though, Subaru is moving between these mid and top lane, trying to look for an opening, pushing in. So obviously when you only have Corki as your ranged, it becomes very hard to actually push down towers unless you manage to kill some people first. So they want Gambit to move away from the towers, try and get a kill with Selfie, with Impaler, and then they can go towards the towers. It's very hard for them now just to push it.
Terrifying wave clearing potential there. We see the speed that Selfie and Impaler just push out those.
Well, you could have
look at Mima. Mima's just like, well, they're all going towards the top lane, so you know what? I'm just going to kill this inner turret all on my own. We saw Genja putting off a couple of shots to ult him, but not really breaking through that Randuin's, and now Super Hot Crew just react instantly and say, okay, they move towards middle, easy inner turret in the top lane. Being pulled around the map here are Gambit.
Not really sure what Gambit is doing here. They sent Edward into the mid lane after the tower's already dead. They had Genja there, even though he's the main wave clear, should have him where the most members from Super Hot Crew are, or especially where Mr. Rallis is, to make sure he doesn't hit the tower and you clear the wave. Instead, they just split up. They had like 1 member in mid lane, then all of a sudden they had 4 members in mid lane, only 1 in the top lane. So Super Hot Crew very easily just managed to actually take 2 towers away. We saw Alliance in the last game against Rocket when they were behind. They managed to defend the towers for a long time and get to the late game. Gambit couldn't do the same thing in this game. Or at least just before.
Yeah, and a 3rd Dragon going down here for the Super Hot Crew. And leaves Maimer with 2,600 gold. There's 2,300 for Mr. Riles to spend. So they're going to be picking up a couple of big items when they go back home to, or certainly maybe the start of a couple of big items when they actually go home to be spending all of that gold, which they just indeed have. We see there for Mr. Riles, Infinity Edge, Trinity Force, Last Whisper, got a Negatron Cloak as well for a bit of protection, mostly against Nick there. And there's a Banshee's Veil now for Maimer, along with a Giant's Belt as well.
So Super Crew been back in base, buying, picked up had quite some gold from the Baron, from the towers they just took here. Let's see what they want to do. If they want to try and do the same thing, where they split up in multiple lanes and push all of them down, and because they are so strong, they should be able to win the 1-on-1 and 2v2, whatever small fights they'll have around the map. And if they do win it, they can then take a tower afterwards, and they are actually splitting up. Marmadam this bottom lane, has teleport ready in case he needs it, and 4 members from Super Hot Crew up in the top lane.
Well, one thing that helps here for Gambit is they do have the teleport back available for Kubon. And we see their Maimer actually TP'd up towards his top lane, so it looks like they're going to go for it. They're just going to take this tower. Gambit completely leaving that one there for the Super Hot Crew, and that leaves an inhibitor completely exposed to them now. Maimer on the front side, not really too scared of getting in. There's the dive coming around, Tidal Wave will come in. We see Nick using his Zhonya's, does get the ghost there from Kubon, but one by one, they're being destroyed. Selfie gets himself the double already. Now they're going for Edward, who will flash to try and get away, but Maimer got the damage to kill him just before the fountain. Mr. Riles can hold Genja there away, and that will be 4 men down for the Super Hot Crew, and they're just going to go straight towards the win here, surely.
The minions are coming in now. Will there be a cannon wave? No, just standard minion wave coming. They might try and take a tower. Let's see what they can do.
Genja, the only one that can stop this one from happening, but the tower's going down so quickly. Windwall will stop Genja from being able to really do much as well at the side. Both Nexus turrets go down. No one's spawning in quick enough, and the Super Hot Crew get back to winning ways, taking down Gambit.
So everything for Gambit in this game here boils down once again to them picking some wrong team fights in the early game when they're not strong enough to fight. They go for the fights anyway, they're out of position, they lose the fight, give up a lot of kills, give up a dragon, and just fall so far behind in goal, and then they have to sit back and try and farm, and it's too easy for the other team to just take control of the map, take every single buff, take the Baron, and just push down the towers. And the coordination, the shot calling from Gambit is definitely not where it needs to be.
Well, we also have to, I guess, give them a little bit of slack as well. This is a team that's now got 2 new members pretty much since yesterday. I'm not sure exactly before that how much real practice time they've had.
Very true.
This, I mean, 2 members, especially when it's a jungler and a top laner. The jungler in particular, I think it's going to take time until they really get into the flow of things.
And when you replace 2 legends or veteran members in Diamond and Darien, yes, of course, it's going to be hard, but we can't really look at it and say, yeah, it's going to be okay, because the season is almost over.
Yeah.
There's no time for it to be okay. I mean, they might just be looking towards relegation and say we have enough time to prepare the team for relegation now, because playoffs for them are looking almost impossible. They need to really start winning pretty much every single game, and then for the last Super Week, they have to pick up 4 wins if they want to go into the top 6 point. So they don't really have the time to just say, yeah, it's going to be fine, you know, we're just going to give it a few more weeks. They need instant results if they want to go towards playoffs, unless they're just purely looking at the promotion tournament.
But you have to say, you just can't expect instant results with
of course
2
not.
new
Of course not.
key role players coming into your side after playing with, you know, top lane and jungle that have been there since the very start in this Gambit team, since before they were Moscow 5, even in the Empire days. And we can see there for Edward, not looking like a happy man right now. And it's, for me, a little bit sad to see the Gambit name right down there at the bottom of the table at this stage of things, but that's what can happen if things aren't going for you. It can go from bad to worse very, very quickly.
Yeah, and obviously there was a lot of issues on the team. They talked about it themselves. The Gambit statement said Diamond and Darren was benched because they didn't want to improve the team synergy and so on. So obviously they had some issues they need to sort, but if we look at the results from this week, it didn't look very good. So they definitely need to think of something else, or they gotta hope that these new players can very, very quickly get the synergy going and start winning games.
Well, that's Gambit. On the other side, though, is a super hot crew that managed to pick up another victory. And we're going to send it over to Shox and Quickshot, who are ready to speak with the super hot crew's Impaler.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, joined by Matt the Impaler Taylor here after that victory. Impaler, talk me through the Rengar pick. Finally, we see him in LCS, and you decided to go very aggressive on him.
I really like Rengar with the 2 jungle bans, knowing he's going to pick Elise. I can just let him try and force ganks while I farm up my Feral Flare, and then come in with tons of damage and just kill everybody.
Well, it definitely seemed to work out. The game was quite convincingly in yours and your team's hands. What was it that either you did right or Gambit did poorly that allowed you to win so convincingly?
We figured we'll just try and team fight as much as possible, because with 2 new people on their roster, they kind of have some synergy issues, and we thought if we can just make them team fight, make them group up, they have to either commit or like just concede objectives. And if they can't make up their mind, then they just die and they lose both.
Well, we're actually going to take a look at one of those team fights that you guys executed very well. So let's get that up on the screen. It is one around Dragon, actually, and I think it was the first Dragon of the game.
Yes, it was. And it was actually one of the situations that happened yesterday where Gambit committed to a team fight too early. So I want to get your take on this one, Impaler. Let's roll this clip out and talk me through Gambit's engage as you're on the Dragon.
Okay, we knew we had to fight this Dragon because Mima has no TP, so he moves down. We just get a good combo with Selfie and Shyvana ult, and then we're basically just cleaning up this fight. Fizz is trying to dive our carries, we're kiting them back, and Mima is just doing all the damage in the middle, while me and Selfie are picking off stray targets.
Now, explain to me the thought process behind, you know, the team composition. You guys have got like a very heavy AD focus. Is there a time limit on how effective that will stay for longer? We've seen Alliance struggling with a heavy AD comp just the game before.
I think Alliance struggled a lot because Wicked fell behind and he was all that AP damage on the Shyvana. So my aim was to keep Mima in the laning phase. He got really far ahead there. I gave him pressure. Kubon constantly had no flash. So we knew we'd have the AP damage coming in. So provided we don't go to like 50 minutes and then he's not doing so much damage, he just does loads of damage magic as well.
By the way, how did you boost Mimer's morale after that Yorick pick? Because we saw in the listening, no, please don't pick Yorick, and still did.
I was just like, I'll camp your lane, you just do whatever you want and you'll be fine. And he was like, okay, thanks, Impaler.
Well, it definitely worked out. A few weeks ago, you were chatting to Shox for a preview show. And if memory serves, you were saying that for Super Hot Crew and the team, you want to be more like dragons. And you want to be more aggressive and not like tigers. Now, yesterday, in my mind, you guys were like sheep because you were feeding. What happened in your game yesterday?
Ouch.
And how are you going to prevent that happening in the future?
We picked ourselves into like 3 losing lanes, and lanes fell behind. Everyone's panicking. And when you're panicking, you are like sheep. Everyone's just running away. And we don't want to run away. We want to fight them every time we can. And that's just what we're trying to do today.
Yeah, obviously, Fnatic is always a hard matchup. Going forward, what will be the main things to focus on for you guys to climb higher in the standings and maybe keep your eye on that playoff spot?
I really think we need to be practicing as efficiently as teams like Rocket right now. They're like 5-0 or whatever in a row. And they're just really strong right now. So clearly they're doing something right in practice. If not, you can't make that huge turnaround.
Just very quickly, you guys are sitting 11-9 on the split. If you carry on picking up a few wins, playoffs is looking more likely. What will the Super Hot Crew be doing to ensure a spot at the 2014 Worlds? Because it's not that hard to believe that you guys could be in the top 3.
Right now, we just want to work really hard with our analysts because we're still making a lot of mistakes and a lot of the US LCS teams are making a lot of mistakes. So we just want to cut down on the mistakes, let the enemies make these plays and make the mistakes, and we'll just capitalize on them.
Well, clear plan. Thank you very much. Congratulations. All right, we are on a brief cooldown, but we'll be back shortly. The LCS action continues after the break with the Copenhagen Wolves versus Millennium.
Test bit. Do dragon. If I ulti too, you ulti, okay? The TP. Are you ready? Are you wanna fight?
Turn on them, yeah, turn on them.
Can you not?
I'm on.
I have ult on 2 guys. Kill an IQ, no flash on IQ. Can you get him? Keep going. Nice, I'm getting out. And IQ's up in Ghost. Nice.
Good dragon.